coach joins us here, the Continental Tire Coach's Corner. Now, I know you went to school here in Minnesota, and I know you've been listening to McLovin whine and moan about how cold it is. On a scale of 1 to 10, how cold is it today?
10 being the coldest, today's about a 6.
Okay.
We got a long ways to go. By this weekend, you're going to hope that it would be this warm.
Okay, but did you play football indoors?
We were
in
outdoors.
Oh,
now,
okay.
fortunately, then, the Big Ten season ended around Thanksgiving, so you only had 1 or 2 really cold games. But Tom Moore was my quarterback coach. He was of the Bud Grant school. He didn't believe in gloves, no long sleeves. If you were a ball handler, you had to be able to feel the ball. So we got used to playing in cold weather.
Tell them the story about when you were, it was finals week. You had a take-home test at the University of Minnesota.
First semester up here, it's starting to get cold. December, I have a take-home final. I did it in my dorm. All I had to do is go turn it in. It was like December 21st. I walked outside 2 steps, and I said, I don't know if this is worth getting this grade. I put my head down and went about a block further, and I said, forget this. I got to take an F, and got back in my dorm. It was now that's cold. That's cold.
But you played in Pittsburgh with Chuck Noll. How was Chuck Noll? Everybody talks about Bud Grant, the Minnesota Vikings coach, and how he didn't want heaters, he didn't want gloves or anything. How was Chuck Noll on the sideline?
Coach Noll was fine. Do whatever you need to do to play and get comfortable. We had heaters on the sideline. He let us wear the gloves and everything. But I remember the coldest game I ever played in, 78 AFC Championship game. We're playing Houston. It's cold rain. It hadn't snowed, but just wet and cold. And Rocky Blyer, they sent him in. We're ahead, and the doctor said he needs to go in. He's getting hypothermia. And he said, don't tell Chuck I have to go in because I'm cold. Tell him I'm hurt.
Yeah. So here's Rocky, one of the toughest guys who's ever played.
His teeth were chattering. I mean, it was just frozen solid. The doctor sent him in, and he said, if Coach is looking for me, tell him I'm hurt. Don't tell him I'm cold.
But when you played for these legendary coaches, we wondered if Minnesota had an advantage when they played outdoors, the Vikings.
Oh, absolutely.
But could you do that today and use that as a home field advantage where, I mean, the Packers use it, but why wouldn't the Vikings take advantage of something like that?
I think it's for the fans. The stadium over here is beautiful, and you don't want the fans to sit out in that. But it was definitely an advantage. I was in college here, and I'd come out and watch some of those playoff games. I mean, blankets, snowmobile suits, all the equipment you could have on. And Coach Grant just told them, hey, this is mental. You got to disregard it. And I remember going out to practice one time late in the year. Sammy White was a rookie from Grambling. And Bud's giving him this whole story about it's all mental and everything. And between plays, Sammy's got his hands in his pants. So Coach Grant made him hold up the cards the whole practice so he'd get used to working with his hands. And by the next year, he was totally fine.
What was the philosophy or mindset you had when you sent your guys into media night? What was your role as a coach before they went out?
You know what? I told them, have fun, enjoy this, enjoy the moment. We're not even going to think football in preparation until tomorrow. So go out there and have fun, and know that there's no such thing as bulletin board material at the Super Bowl. When you get here, if somebody needs a quote to make them play hard against you, it's not going to matter anyway. So I didn't really worry about that. Answer the questions, enjoy it, have fun, and then tomorrow we'll start the serious football.
I know you spent some time in Philadelphia. We're talking to Tony Dungy. Just that whole chip on the shoulder, underdog, how does that play? How do you travel with that to Minneapolis?
They're going to bring that, no question about it. It's impacted them. The fact that they were underdogs at home with the #1 seed, both games, they felt a disrespect. Now, you really can't use that and take it any further, but they're going to. They've had that underdog mentality. The other thing they have is just a lot of – it's new for them. I was talking to Rodney, and he's in New England, and it's kind of ho-hum, here we go again. But these guys, it's exciting. They're into it. The city and everything, they're feeding off that. So I'm anxious to see how they're going to be. But it was a very excited group when I was there.
I look at Philadelphia as being a better team than New England. Both sides of the ball, like more balanced, maybe less holes than – but you have Brady versus Foles, and it almost feels like Brady is worth 6 points, let's say. If Carson Wentz was the quarterback, how close do you think? I mean, is it? I know Foles has played well, and I know you're a big Foles fan. But if Wentz is playing, are we looking at this game differently?
I think we would be, because Bill Belichick, as we know, always says, "I'm going to take away what you do best, and I'm going to make your weaknesses beat us. If your weakness can beat us, then we'll live with it." So he definitely is going to take away the quick passing game. He's going to take away the run, load it up, and try to put the ball in Nick Foles' hands. Well, you couldn't really take that strategy with Carson Wentz. You can't say, "I'm going to sell out to everything and put it in Wentz's hands." So it's definitely, it would be an advantage if Wentz played. But the key is going to be Foles. If he plays the way he played the last 2 games and the moment isn't too big for him, they're going to do well.
I know that the Eagles, the players think this is just Nick Foles and they didn't do anything. Doug Peterson didn't tweak anything here. But knowing Doug Peterson, he tweaks something with Nick Foles, whether these players understand that or not.
It's so funny, because I ask all those guys that in the interviews, and our show, we'll have it on Sunday morning. All the offensive guys, "Oh, we haven't done one thing different. We just ran the same plays over and over." And then you talk to Nick and you talk to Coach Peterson. "Well, here's what we did, and here's, but what happens, you have maybe 300 plays in your arsenal. And so they ended up sorting some things out, and they're maybe running 40 or 50 different things for Foles than they did for Wentz. Now, they were all in training camp, but maybe they're running 80% different, even though it was always in the playbook."
What should I ask Tom Brady tonight?
You should ask Tom Brady how he stays so driven, how you can play at that high level and still motivated to win 6, 7, 8 Super Bowls. Most people after 2 or 3 or 4, "Hey, I'm in the elite of the whole world." But he is driven and focused. I don't know how you keep that over 20 years.
How do you coach that?
I don't think you coach it. I think that's inside of someone.
But who do you think is more competitive, Belichick or Brady?
I've seen the Bill Belichick competitiveness up close and personal, so I'd have to say he might be it's probably a tie. It's probably close.
But I look at Brady, and I don't know if this is the last hurrah, but that you just have to look at the numbers and say you're 40, Belichick is 65. Like, he could coach 10 more years, I guess, right?
I think so.
But we know Brady can't play 10 more years. But I don't know if this is the last hurrah.
I don't think Tom's looking at it that way. I think he's looking at, hey, we could win 2 or 3 more.
I'm also fascinated with this. Let's say Brady had missed that game against Jacksonville because of the injury, and then it's Hoyer in there instead of Garoppolo, because you had Garoppolo as insurance for Tom Brady, and then all of a sudden, abruptly, Garoppolo is in San Francisco.
That would have been a tough pill to swallow, and I know everybody was holding their breath, probably thought it would never come to that, but that would have been a difficult one, because I don't believe they would have won that game without Brady.
Is it fair to include Brady in the conversation with Michael Jordan of decorated athletes? Not better athlete, but let's say he wins his 6th, though he's matched Mike with 6 titles, even though he played in 8 Super Bowls and Mike with 6 NBA Finals.
See, I think he definitely is in that conversation, and those guys are great competitors. Now, you know me, and you know I'm old school. I put both of those guys a notch below Bill Russell.
Well, Russell is the most decorated team player of all time, but he.
Everybody wants to say but he didn't lose big games.
I have to do it. I have to put a but in there, because that's guys stayed together. There was no free agency. They won. You could get to the finals sooner, less games.
NCAA.
I know. Olympics.
Twice. Olympic Games.
Yep.
Undefeated in do-or-die games. 11 rings. But I don't want to hear but.
Okay. All right. But if we take Bill Russell out of the equation.
Okay, now, yep.
Give me the game plan for the Eagles to win this game.
The Eagles have to, first of all, figure out defensively how they're going to deal with the inside receivers. What I see is Deion Lewis, James White, Gronkowski, Amendola in the middle of the field, and they're going to have to pack it in so tight that that's going to give Cooks some real opportunities one-on-one. And this is why they got Cooks, for this strategy. If you're going to take away all that and commit so many people inside. I've got to be able to throw one-on-one outside. The only way the Eagles are going to disrupt that is with pass rush, and they know it. Their defensive line, talking to those guys, it's on us. We, as much as we like our guys in the back, they can't handle all of those receivers. So we've got to get pressure. The other side of the game plan is pretty simple. There's going to be the run-pass options. Nick Foles is going to read it, and he's got to throw when that's available. And probably most of the time it is going to be throw, because I'm sure New England's going to take away the run. So Foles has to be efficient, not to turn the ball over, and the defensive line has to pressure the pass. I think New England's going to throw 55
Yeah, I do too.
in this game.
But I think it's going to be no huddle. I think Brady's going to have tempo there and not let them substitute.
And that's okay. They're fine not substituting if they can get pressure.
Explain to me what this means to you, the Pat Summerall Award that you're going to get Thursday night, the dinner benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Pat Summerall was legendary in this business. Just a guy who was class and longevity and doing things the right way. And to ask to be honored and over the course of your career doing things the right way and doing things for the community, it's going to be pretty awesome. And to be here in the town where I went to school, I coached as an assistant coach. A lot of my formative years were here. It couldn't have been better timing.
Well deserved as well. There,
Thank
Tony.
you.
Yeah, but you're getting all these awards, and then we have to call you Hall of Famer. I can't say Tony. And there's always a title that goes with you. That's hard. I mean, I have to catch myself, because when I say, "Hey, Tony," and then you don't turn around, I go, Hall of Famer. Hey, wow. Hall of Famer.
Where's the bus that I'm going under right now?
Thank you for stopping by, Tony.
Always great.
Hall of Famer. He's NBC Football Night in America. Now getting another award here. Continental Tire Coach's Corner with Tony Dungy.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.